Are we filming? Yes, we are. So welcome to another video. This is a slight departure from my normal setup, but I want to share it with you because I've been experimenting. As you know, I like to experiment. I like to chop and change all the time. And typically what I carry and I select, maybe once every few days, I select a personal size and a mini size binder that I can carry, and then I move into these binders, so that typically the personal size binder is a project book, if you like, general notebook, and then the mini size typically carries a rolling diary. And I've just been using one A7 page per event, so that if there is no events, then there's no date. So it's unusual, but I've been experimenting, and what's prompted me to experiment with this is the fact that the 2026 diaries are now out. Filofax are gracious enough to allow us to have them now, although they don't issue them at the beginning of the calendar year for the next year. So there is a gap between January of any given year and then when Filofax themselves decide to release the following year's diaries, where it's not possible to have a 12-month rolling diary. And if anyone's listened to Filofax, I mean, come on guys, you are one of the market leaders providing diaries to people. The very fact that you cannot have a rolling 12-month diary is just bonkers. Anyway, I rest my case. But they are available now. So just out of interest and in the attempts to experiment and try this out, I bought a mini-sized week on 2 pages 2025 and 2026 diaries, and they are in here. Basically it starts and finishes 12 months later on, and so basically every once in a while I will remove one of the old pages and add a new one from my stash. Where are they? I think they're here. Let's have a look. Let's just have a little look. So I've got my spares here. So I add one of these to this. So that's the theory. So I have a rolling 12-month diary, which is something that, although it's not really my bag, I thought I'm going to try it. I'm just going to try it because it's something that many people would like to do. So I'm just trying this, and I'm using this as a wallet as well, which I know that's risky, or at least could be risky, but I'm taking the chance. Just for a while, see if I get on with it, because there's no doubt about it, just having one binder that you can carry at all times, which you can use as a wallet, is very minimalist, and I like that. So what have we got here? Well, we've got a modified Filofax Portland. The Filofax Portlands I rate, it's no longer made, but they're very relatively cheap on eBay. You can pick them up. They're not particularly rare, but I like this. This is apparently described as tumbled leather. I don't know what tumbled leather is, but it feels good in the hand, and it is it feels hard wearing and soft. It has a certain quality. It has a certain quality that feels good, in my opinion. So this just happens to be D-ringed purely by accident, because I was trying to realign the ring mechanism in this, and the mechanism broke. And it broke because, as I subsequently found, the ring parts are just an interference fit on the main body of the mechanism, which to me sounds bonkers. You're paying good money for a product like this, and yet the item becomes useless if you put just a little bit too much pressure on one of those rings. They have just held together by friction. Does that sound right to you? It certainly doesn't sound right to me. They should be spot welded in some way, so that there's a fight, so that they're more robust. But anyway, so we ended up with this situation where I have a D-ringed Portlands that I haven't really used other than as a notebook. And in a previous video, I have shown how I use these. These are Treasury tags, which have been around since the 19th century. And they're just a piece of metal with a piece of string, and you can get them in different sizes. These are 25mm, and certainly this particular company make them in various sizes, from 25mm all the way to 152mm in this particular case. So quite a vast range, and they're cheap. They're very cheap and very, very useful. I love them, and for the purposes of a D-ringed binder, these can be very, very useful. And the way you use them is because obviously these are, you don't want these metal ends flapping about, so you push them through, you get the idea, and then you slide the card cover into one pocket, and you go to the other ends, and you can see that there's, so they're out of the way. So as a D-ringed binder, it's actually quite a useful thing. So what do we have here? Well, we've got these are 51mm. I did have the 25mm, but it was hard to turn over the pages without damaging the rings, not the rings, the holes in the paper. But I've settled for 51mm. Because that gives enough slack in the system so that you can literally stuff this, and you're not going to have any problems turning over the pages. There's plenty of room here, and if you look at what I've got here, it's quite well stuffed, and you could have even more in here without any problem whatsoever. But essentially what I've got in here is I have got, I guess you could put some cards in here, but at the back here I've got 3 cards in the card slots. You could put more cards in there if you wanted, but I've got this is a leather card holder from Me Plus, which has also got a securing strap. Very, very good design. And it fits like that. Perfect. I've not only de-ringed it purely by accident, but also I've de-poppered it. So I've just got a pair of pliers and yanked the male part of the popper out, so it's not going to rub on the lining of my trousers. I cut off the pen loop. It's a bit rough and ready. I just did it with a razor blade, but it's nice and smooth. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing fancy, but it's a working tool, and I'm happy with that. It feels good though. It feels good, even though it is just a working tool. But let me just talk about the diary. Now, as I've said, this has got 51mm Treasury tags. You can buy them you can buy a whole box of them for a few pounds on Amazon. I will leave a link in the description if you want to experiment yourselves. But I'm really liking this because it's a rotating diary. At least until January next year, and then I won't be able to unless I go for another company, because I won't be able to because Filofax do not release the following year's diary until well into the next year. It's significantly better than it was, because there was a time when you had to wait till September for next year's diary, or as I recall. And now here we are in April, and 2026 diaries are available. But I decided to experiment with week on 2 pages again. I blow hot and cold with pre-printed Filofax diaries. But I'll tell you one thing I'm really pleased with. Let me just to show you a little experiment. So I'll just zoom in and show you. So here's a few tests. So this is fountain pen ink, and then my Pilot G2, which is this, a favourite of mine, and then a Kaweco ballpoint. And if you look on this paper, which is 80 GSM, there's a tiny bit of show through, but there's no bleed through at all. This paper I really rate. So very pleased with it. Very pleased. Very good quality. And what I selected was the English version. So you don't have a whole line of, but it doesn't really matter. And what I've also done is, you notice that I just cut the corner here so that when you open the binder, you can easily just go to the right page. This is important if you have several pages of previous weeks that you want to keep in here for future reference. Just in case you want to do that, then this is useful. But also, and you'll notice here, if these are 51mm, in this case, when you close the diary, you can see that there is a natural fold here, and then you've got these here, and without even having to open the diary, there's no need for a ruler or a divider, a page marker, because it just opens at the existing current page, by virtue of the fact that you've got some slack in the system that forms a little bit of a wedge there. But I like that. I really like that. What else have I got in here? Well, I have got, and this is really just for, I wouldn't say emergency use, but clearly this is hand cut. This is actually my favourite Clairefontaine 50 GSM paper, which is fabulous and relatively inexpensive. Again, I'll put a link in the description for you if you're interested. And it is just I'm not really sure. There's about 30 pages here. I'm not really sure what I'm going to use it for, but certainly it will be useful to make notes. And if you write a temporary note, you can just pull this out or cut it, no problem at all. And you can clearly add to this. You can add to this as required. By just feeding through the paper as required. So it's very, very handy to have some note paper if you're out and about. If this is the only EDC notebook stroke Filofax stroke wallet that you have, it's handy to have everything in one place. And I quite like that. I quite like that system. and I'm going to use this as a wallet. A little bit of a risk, but I'm going to use it as a wallet. There is with the Portlands a back pocket where you can put your money. But I really like this as just a standalone EDC complete. I'm not sure whether I'm going to carry on with this, but I like the setup. The pen loop I've stretched by soaking it in water. I've mentioned this before, where I soaked it overnight and then I was able to insert the cap of a Kaweco Sport, which just basically stays there permanently, and then you can have any pen you want in here. This particular one is modified, and I've got another video showing the modification. This is a rollerball, but it's got a Kaweco Pilot G2 modified by basically cutting it to length and inserting it in here. And that works very, very well. I do like these rather than the ball pens because they're super, super smooth on Clairefontaine paper. This is the 1mm, which is the thicker version, if you like, the broader tip. And of course, one of the big pluses about having this type of insert is you can actually see how much ink you've got. Where if you have the rollerball insert, the refill, the Kaweco one that's in here, well, it's metal and you can't see into it, so you don't know how much ink you've got left. So I quite like that. Or indeed, you could have a fountain pen, whatever you want. But these Kaweco pens I really, really like. But it's just nothing fancy. It doesn't look attractive in any way, so it's less likely to be snatched from your table in a cafe. But you still have to be careful and wary of that. But I do keep a diary, an online diary, using Apple's calendar app, which kind of duplicates what's in here. But overall, I think this is quite a good system, and as a self-contained EDC system, it comes highly recommended. Thank you for watching, and I'll leave a selection of linked videos for you in the ends cards here. Thank you. Take care. Bye for now.